Welcome to Fiction Authors Talk Books, or Fat Books Podcast. This episode I'm talking with my darling editor about the differences between Artemis University and the upcoming new series, Morrigan University. This is a safe space for people of the industry to talk about the industry, the craft, and we'll definitely go off script. If you enjoy the podcast and would like to see your favorite author on here, send them this link, and they can get in touch with us at fatbookspodcast@gmail.com. We take all authors who write fiction and have been published as long as they're polite. Thanks for joining us, and on to the podcast. Hello, my dear. How are you today?
I'm great. How are you?
Good. Happy Sunday.
Oh yes, happy Sunday. I get the Sunday scaries every Sunday, as all teacher, administrator, school people do.
I think it's just everybody who works on Monday, and I don't stop working. So like even my friends are always like, "Oh, tomorrow," and I'm like, "I've been working all weekend, so what does that matter?"
So you got all the week scaries.
Yeah, I mean, what does it really matter? Like, I just it kind of all blurs together for me now. So like,
Mm-hmm.
meh. Okay, a little back, whatever, not story. Reasoning of why we're talking again, as opposed to me having another author on. So, uh, Artemis is coming to a close soon,
Yes.
and I am inundated. I don't know if that's actually the correct word. I'm flooded with questions. I'm constantly getting, so you're going to do it's not so much questions, it's a lot of worrying statements and assumptions. That's what I'm looking for.
Wrap up worries.
Well, more like yeah, there is a good few of the wrap up worries of like what comes next, but there are too many. Oh, so you're going to have a spin-off series. Got it. It's like, wait, no. Didn't say that. Please don't assume that. So
Gotcha.
I thought it is important to clear the air, because not everybody can catch every little post or every response in Discord. So just kind of like address it all at once, give a little bit more insight, because it is I can't believe it's now approaching, like November's right around the corner and those will be releasing, and Artemis will finish in December, and it's like I've been talking about this for so long that it's like, wow, it's like here, and I don't know if I should have the nervous breakdown, pop out the champagne, like what is the appropriate response, or all the above, probably all of the above.
You're gonna have some empty nest. You're gonna have some empty Tam's nest. Like parents when they ship their kids off to college, you have raised this baby.
It's been well, the first one, it's been 5 years since the first release almost, but it's been 7 years since at least since the first one I wrote, because I didn't put him out until later. Like, it was something I threw against the wall a while ago, and there was a series that kind of like years and years before that even, that I started as a young adult series and wrote like 7 books in, and it was supposed to be a young adult to new adult idea, and then it was almost too innocent for me, and I wanted to do something more, and then I got the idea for Tams, but yeah, so it's been, I can't believe I'm going to say this, I've done a 26 book series in 5 years. In 5 years, like,
I think celebration is definitely in order. Yes.
just for the record, that was an exhausted sound, not a well, maybe I might vomit from exhaustion on that one. For the record, there will not be a spin-off series. I'm a hard no on that, mostly because I am not a fan of them as a reader. And as an author, though, I know the behind the scenes of how disappointing they always tend to be for either fans or the authors. And I'm not just talking about sales, but then they feel trapped into doing it. And I don't have the desire to. If I had the desire, it would be different. I don't have the desire. And then I knew the statistics of you'll lose over half the readership on a spinoff. And I've had friends that have basically had nervous breakdowns because they've committed to this, then it didn't do well, they really felt pressured into doing it and didn't want to do it, and then they're stuck in this. So I'm just going to hard pass. I would like to move on from Tams, leave her in the last chapter, and maybe in 5 years, however long, we could have a look into the future of once they're all mated and happy, and maybe have a kid or two, like something a little peeking. I'm okay with that. But I'm a hard pass on the spin-off series.
I feel okay about that. I mean, who would you spin off? Like, would it be Izzy? Would it be?
Well, I've had some people that want more of Izzy and Claudia. I had the idea of the first child born of a light and dark mating.
Oh,
There's a ton of different ideas, but they want the world to continue where Tamsin and her peoples are in the background.
gotcha.
And I'm more a clean break person. And I would like to move on. I've already started. Plus, I've already started 2 different series in this genre. And have 4 books written. And it was a matter of which one did I want to do first, you know? So that is also the big one of they're already done. The car is not turning around. Like we're so
Well, having had a peek into the new series, I fully support it.
Yeah.
You gave me the first one over spring break this year.
You're kind of in love with this series more than
Yes. And I texted you and I'm like, more, more, more.
now, okay, so I got to ask you just to be devil's advocate because I know your favorite is Karma, right?
Yes.
Do you like this more than Karma?
Okay. So it's so different because Karma is a little kitschy for me just because of the baking. And it's just a little like the world is very small. Like the Karma world. Oh, sorry, I got a cat in the window. Karma world is very small to
Yeah.
me because everything is contained like, in her
In
town, in her
Boston.
yes. And so it's not the comparison isn't there. It's like I
That's
don't
fair.
even know. It's like
That's fair.
Harry Potter and Lord of the Rings. Like those 2 things have enough similarities with magic and whatever. They are
Yeah.
not the same. They do not equate.
Yeah. That's true. They're very, very one's a slow romance or slow burn one. Yeah. You're
Yep.
they're very not the same besides they're both romance fantasy or what
Right.
But it was more a curiosity of because I know you really like Karma, but you were very enamored with this new one, and I didn't know if you were just being supportive editor
No,
or
no.
you okay.
I really like it. There are some series like because I came in late on like Seraphine
Yeah.
and Soraya. I came in late on those. And even House of Garner, I think my first one was 4 or 5, maybe 3 or 4 or 5.
Yeah.
And so I feel like we have birthed this baby and I have seen it say its first words and take its first steps. And so like it just feels different because I'm here from the beginning.
Well, and you had a lot of input on the covers, the font. You've had comments on names. You've had a list of not a list. I mean, that makes it sound bad, but you've had ideas you want implemented. Yeah, it's in you couldn't have that with Tamsin because the world was kind of already set by the time you came in on book 4 or whatever. So
Right. Right. And I did like what leg did I have to stand on when it was already so established?
yeah,
Yeah.
you're definitely enjoying that part of it. Like you're bright and shiny about it, and it's very motivating, I have to say. So
Right. I sent you something the other day and I was like, what about this? And you weren't like, stop it. You were like, huh. And so, that is different to me just because we've established trust. Like I think we've established trust.
oh yeah, I mean we've been working together what like 4 years now.
Yeah.
Wow, has it really been that long?
And then also you're like, okay, things are not set on this trajectory as firmly. And so it's like co-parenting. I'm like the weekend dad, I get it every other weekend and then you're the full-time mom. And every once in a while you let me take the kid to a birthday party.
Yeah, that's pretty fair. I think that's how it should be an author and editor relationship. I think you very succinctly put that in a way that yeah, that should work that way. So a little bit of the differences without giving away too much.
Yep.
We kind of decided to do it in 3 different focuses of Tamsin versus Bevan.
Yep.
A little bit of differences in the world and focusing on the magic too. So physically, besides they're both, of course, you can't have a heroine that's oh, I don't want to say that. That would be mean to say you can't have an ugly heroine, but
Her life is infinitely easier because she's skinny and cute.
yeah, they're both
Like
beautiful.
your writing too. Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah, well, they're both beautiful, and I've had characters that are beautiful in their own way or not maybe conventionally beautiful. The main difference between them is Tamsin starts out with a certain strength, and Bevan has more of an inner strength, whereas Tamsin had a physical strength. That's the difference between them,
Yes.
to start at least.
And Bevan is aware of her abilities to an extent, and Tamsin was not, correct?
Yeah, that's a huge one.
Yeah.
Tamsin was drop kick in this world, and we won't have that part with this. I mean, everybody learns something new, or there's always, more to investigate or, unfold, peeling back the layers of the onions. But yeah, Bevan grew up in this world. She knows more than most in a lot of ways. So
Right, and she sees a different type of ugliness growing up than Tamsin did.
exactly. Her family is the villain, or is a huge villain in this series, whereas Tamsin didn't have a family. I mean, she gets her dad later and everything and learns out. But at the very start, it's clear that her family is the problem. I mean, we're not giving away much here when the first title is Escape Daughter.
Right.
So yeah, I mean, it's kind of obvious that getting away from her family is a priority. And that's super different from Tamsin, whereas all she wanted was knowledge of her family, to learn about her family, where she came from, all of that. And Bevan is all about getting the F away from her family.
Right.
So, huge difference. Also, physically they're different. One is blonde, one is redhead. That's not really so much of a factor. But the other one is Bevan has a very internal, because she didn't grow up normally,
Right.
but in a different way that Tamsin didn't grow up normally. So she has a lot of inner strength, whereas Tamsin was very doubtful of herself. She was physically strong. And Bevan is not a joke on, but it kind of takes that old Harlequin stereotype of the big boobed girl who all the men fall all over and help out because they're so pretty. And
The well is deeper. Yeah.
yeah. And it's like, that's okay. That's great. I'm just going to go with him because he saves me. That kind of, she almost picks on, like how Tamsin used to pick on cliches and whatever, but very overtly. Bevan is a bit not overtly picking on it, because it's like she realizes that she is that cliche or in that stereotype. Like, men are helping her because she's pretty.
Mm-hmm.
Like, she even, I think she says at one point or somewhere, like, would any of you notice or help me if I wasn't pretty? Like, and that is upsetting to her.
Mm-hmm.
She doesn't want to be that girl. She doesn't want to have that kind of life. I think that's a big difference between them. Like, and I think it's important that, I'm assuming people are going to pick up on that and pick on it too, that she's a little bit she's not a blonde bimbo, but she kind of fits some of the characteristics. Like, she's got the big boobs.
She's naive.
Yes.
She's very naive.
Yes. And she's always being saved by good looking males.
Yes.
How unlike the Harlequin stereotype, and I'm not even picking on Harlequin, this was all old romances, this is how it used to be. Unlike that, just accepting it, or this is the way things were, or I'm a woman and this is all I can handle kind of bullshit, Bevan gets really upset with herself and gets upset with the world. That is her motivation to stop being the one who needs to be rescued. So it's like almost like Deadpool breaking the fourth wall, where she knows that this is what she's currently living and just it doesn't want it. I mean, she wants the hot guys. She's not stupid.
Sure, but she wants to come into her own and stand on her own 2 feet, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure. But so what I think about when I think about contrasting the characters is their maturing and their maturity. So
Yeah.
Bevan has spent a lot of time just observing and calculating and figuring out. She had to mature pretty quickly to be able to protect herself. And I think that Tamsin had to mature physically and sort of street smarts wise. She had to be able to fight things off. And so she didn't mature from little girlness, I don't think, until latter half of the series. So she came into Artemis and she had her fight or flight, and that's what she could stand on. Whereas Bevan comes in and she doesn't have the skills physically that Tamsin does, but she can come in and she can outsmart people right away.
Yes.
Tamsin couldn't, but she didn't have to.
But yes, like you said, there's a very, whereas Tamsin was naive to the world, and you're right, tended to fight or flight because of the world and not knowing about it. Bevan doesn't understand relationships, how to be normal with people, how to she's never been to a cafeteria. Like, you find out in the first chapter, so it's not that big of a deal. She was intentionally kept naive and locked away in not quite a castle, but her parents' estate to then be, handed over to whoever they wanted her to mate. It's like in the first chapter that if she didn't know from social media, she would have no knowledge of like anything. And that was intentional. So she was compliant. So she was docile. So she was, couldn't handle life without doing what they wanted. Like it was a very big form of abuse.
Right. And she used that to her advantage as she got older.
Get free.
Like,
yes.
You want me to be invisible, I'm going to be really invisible.
Yeah. But it's also what she has to overcome now.
Yes.
It's a completely different, none of them can have, as much as everybody's like, you must hate your main characters. I don't. They can't have an easy life, or what can I give them to grow off of? What can they, I can't make it all rainbows and sunshine shooting out of their asses, or that would be the world's most boring book in series.
Oh, of course.
Yeah, so, I mean, that's the main difference between the two of them. Now, the world, there won't be any fairy. There aren't fairies, so there's no second world. Like, it is this world, and like, okay, so knowing Artemis world, what did you see as the most pressing points?
Well, I mean, connection to nature. There's a huge connection to nature that's different from Tamsin.
Yeah, that was her demigod side where she cleansed. I kind of like that it's immediate. The whole world is, yeah.
Right. So people are probably going to be like, well, why did you do another university? These are going to be the exact same locations. They're really not. Like, I don't get that impression at all. I don't get that vibe that the campus is similar, that the makeup is similar. I mean, all universities are the same to an extent.
But that is the genre, the paranormal, academic, either high school is the young adult, college is the new adult. I mean, so that is the genre. There are now 14 tons of them out there. Reverse harem, or whatever, whatever you want to call it. College, schooling, academy, whatever. So, that should be fine. But yeah, the schools even you're right, are completely different.
Yes, very much so. And her support system through the college is different too. It's not as, I don't want to say it's not as character driven, but like, I don't know how to explain it. Like, she is more at the forefront, whereas I feel like sometimes Artemis takes on a character of its own.
Yeah.
I don't know how to explain that any differently.
No, I get what you're saying. That's totally fair. I don't even know if I know how to say her university name correctly, so I'm like leery on how to say it.
Oh. Well, I don't know.
How would you say it?
Morrigan?
That's how I would say it too, but I'm worried that, because it is a goddess, that I'm worried that I'm going to say it wrong. So how I don't like to
put it out there. Yeah.
Yeah. Morrigan. I don't know which one, but because it's Irish, so I don't know if that Anne is hard, but
okay.
I would think Morrigan.
Yeah. Morrigan. Okay.
Morrigan.
Well, now I'm going to read it differently.
And who knows what the AI voice will say, the virtual voice will say.
So this is going to sound funny, but it may be the time of year or something, but I think of Artemis as being ginormous. The world is huge. Her reach is huge. She goes places. She's out and about. She's at her estate. She's at her oh my gosh, what are they called? Resorts. And so when I think about Morrigan, MU, when I think about Bevan's world, it's almost like Halloween movie to me. Like, she goes to the coffee shop and I'm like, oh, she's in a little coffee shop. That's so sweet. She goes out to dinner with the one interest, and they like just go slightly off campus to like a little restaurant, and it's not a little restaurant.
It's all more confined.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it feels homey to me. Like, her story feels very sweet and very, I mean, there's obviously spice in it. I mean, yes.
Yeah. And a lot of darkness too. Like, it's not.
Yes. But with her interest and the way that she makes money and the way that she is accessing her world, it all feels very cozy. to me.
Hmm.
Which maybe you weren't going for that, but there's obviously darkness. There's obviously terrible people doing terrible things.
It's a little bit more, it starts a little bit more, when this is because she knew of the world. She wasn't drop kicked into it, but it starts a little bit more like a normal college experience, is what I think you're trying to say.
Yeah.
Even with the darkness and the magic stuff. Like she's getting used to her college town, and she's got to do balance adulting versus being a college student.
Yes.
Like it's a little bit more, yeah.
It's a little more accessible to me just because it's an experience. It's relatable. How's that? It's
Yeah,
relatable.
absolutely. I wanted something very different from Artemis. So that is, yeah, no, that's totally fine.
Well, done and dusted because you did that. Yes, it is very different. And so when you say that you don't want to do a spinoff and you don't want your readers to feel like you are taking a formula and just recreating it, you're not. Like, it's very different to me.
Yeah, and I don't want people to think that, like, because Tamsin was redhead, I picked a blonde, or because she was a fairy, I picked a witch. It wasn't like, opposite day. It was way more organic than that. Like, this is something we're now talking more about the magic, where, familiars, and she can talk to animals, and the magic coming more from earthy. It was more, I didn't get to explore that side of it with the witches in Tamsin's world, and like how it would be more for Izzy to do her magic versus how Tamsin did as a fairy, and especially the future queen of fairy. It's kind of like that. Like I this will be more I get to dive into.
Yeah.
And I'm excited about that.
Do you remember what I texted you? What I was excited about? I texted you and I said, all I wait for is for her to talk to the animals. Like, between every scene, I'm like,
Oh
when is
yeah.
she going to talk to an animal again? Because it's so funny.
You are not the two people who have now read it, you and my beta reader, immediately both said the same. She's like, I want more of that. Like, I wanted more of Tamsin's unicorns and more of the food competitions.
Yep.
And I'm like, that's so funny that you both feel that way, because that's this crap I get on most. Well, the food stuff, I've had not a lot, but I've had noticeable enough emails that register with me where it's like, okay, could you stop with like the food competition
Oh, I
thing? We
love
get it. She's a glut. Oh yeah, so it's just funny that like that specifically, I've had people be like, okay, enough, and you're both like, more. I'm like, oh.
Oh no, it's just like, it's like a little peek into her secret world, and what she's able
Yeah.
to do and other people can't. And then she's kind of like sticking it to people like, hey, you're familiar, would like more, whatever, or would like you to do this, like, get it together.
There is going to be more of that in this series, and it's not so much like a sweeter vibe versus whatever, but there is only one council. There's only one kind of conflict there, as opposed to Tamsin's got bigger and bigger, because there's all these different councils, and there's all these different issues, and all these different royals, and now there won't be. And obviously, I'm not saying the dragon shifters are like animals, but there won't be the dragons, and the familiars take a lot of that place between all the different shifters, and that kind of, it sounds like I'm equating people to animals. I'm really not. More the magical aspect of how things, time-wise exchange are, not important. I can't believe I'm being this PC over fictional whatever.
Well, I didn't feel insulted, but I also, yeah.
You're not a bear
reader.
shifter. The bear shifters out there might be very
They
insulted with
might
me right
be.
now.
They might be.
Or the dragons out there.
Yeah.
Oh, dear God.
But yes, having one council I always had a hard time tracking who belonged to what council.
You were not the only one.
Yes. And so having one council, and having, I don't think this is giving anything away, having certain people in authority, maybe not the council, maybe elsewhere, having certain people in authority who are in her corner based on their interactions with her younger self is very heartening for her.
Yes. And what you were saying about the world being bigger.
Yes.
That Artemis being. And that came because there was a second world. There won't be. So you are right that it will be smaller in that instance of it will be more focused on her schooling. There will be a lot more class time. There will be a lot more focus on the magic, her specific talents in general, but school functions, without giving anything away, the second book, there's introduced to the thing. We know what we're talking
Yep.
about here. Yeah, so not to give that away, but there's a thing on campus in the second book. Well, I mean, they're gonna find out because both books are coming out the same day. Oh no, this podcast is coming out first, so I have to be good. But still, there will be just as many fireworks. There will be as much action-packed, like, stuff people expect from me. Not saying that I'm boring and the same thing over and over again, but there's, you know what you expect when you sit down and watch a certain show. You know you're gonna get certain things when you read a certain author. It's not suddenly I didn't swear. There's no fucking, there's no there's no there's no dirty, borderline, somebody is misbehaving, somebody is going to take issue, and there are absolutely times people will be, have trauma triggers, and I warn about, so it's all, but it's just a very different setting, and I'm excited for that. I'm scared, but I'm excited, and I don't want to say I could ever do anything better than Artemis. I think for my sanity, I've learned a lot from Artemis, and there are things that will make it easier for both of us.
Mhm.
Like the calendar, the calendar for events like I have for Seraphine. I hate myself for not doing that for Artemis.
Yes.
I really do. Because that got so complicated once I hit like book 15, and I didn't have the time to go back, and I really hate myself. My beta reader is working on an actual like timeline for book chapter if we have to reference something that we will both have, which, let's be honest, how many times could you have used that?
Oh, absolutely. Especially when
Yeah.
you put something in there like somebody needs to check this, and I'm like, girl, I don't even know where to look.
I can't anymore.
Yeah.
That is the hardest one for me, is where one book, I have a general idea of where things happen, obviously, but one book bleeds into another for me. I could never tell you. I could tell you a line. I could give you like the exact response a character might give, but where it was in which book, I didn't know.
Oh, but your readers do, because I'll see things
Yeah,
people ask questions, and I'm like, dang, somebody responded that quick.
Yeah. They're like, oh, that's in such and such. Let me get you a page. And I'm like, oh my God. And it was really cute. One of them, the one time, responded with, I'm like, how the fuck you do that? She's like, you have hundreds of books and bazillion characters in your mind. I'd be scared if you could. I was like, fair, but you read a lot of other books too. She's like, yeah, but they're just not my favorite. I was like,
Oh,
oh,
that's really sweet.
I'm special. Yeah, it was really sweet. It was like little hearts coming out of me like in anime or yeah, so that, and we're following, like, at least the one thing not the one thing I did right. I did a lot of things right with Artemis. It's awesome. I admit that. I am not egotistical. I don't think I'm the typical author of like, I'm fabulous. Don't second guess me. Don't judge me. Don't whatever me. I don't want to necessarily say I'm humble either. That sounds weird. I'm just normal. Like, I know my shit stinks. However, Artemis is awesome.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I have read other series in that genre. I'm not saying mine is the best. I just know that I did really good with Artemis, and I'm very proud of it. I did something pretty fucking cool for especially 26 books in 5 years. Like, oh my God. So I forgot what I was originally saying because I was so worried about not sounding stuck up.
Oh, we were talking about people knowing your book so well and like knowing where things are.
Yeah, no, but I
calendar.
did good about starting calendar. Yeah, even in my mind, I started Artemis like a year or two before 2019, where the first one came out. So now we've stayed current. So even Bevan is starting, I think, last year. And we're following you. I'd have to look it up. And we're following University of Illinois' actual college schedule. Like, I've plotted that out better. Yeah, there's dates in the I will have the calendar for the actual
school year
breaks that schools have, as opposed to being so vague. The other thing the other difference is Tamsin was everything went into each quarter. Each book was a quarter. I am not doing that ever again. That was the stupidest fucking idea.
Are we doing some semesters here?
No, it's just whatever it is. It's like Seraphine. It is what it is. I think the first two Bevan books are only in the first two Bevan books are only in the first month or 5 weeks of her semester. And I did that with Tamsin, had a bit of an intro and like, work and whatever, but it's just going to be, it is what it is. 1 year might have 6 books. 1 year might have 3 books. Like, we're just going to We're just gonna roll with it. I have no idea how many books this will be. For all I know, 2 people will read it, and then I won't continue it anyway, so it doesn't matter.
Oh,
Dear
no
God,
chance.
don't do
No chance. No.
Oh, I'm so scared of that. I'm still my bestie is always like, "Would you shut up? This is gonna be bigger than Artemis." And I'm like, don't stop saying that because now it's gonna die." And she's like,
Oh
"Oh,"
my
she
gosh,
spanks
it's
me like
so
every time we
good.
walk.
It's so good.
I think it's good
I
too, but
love it.
I've had other books that I thought were good and like 2 people read. Even Enchantress. I love Enchantress. I think it's great. Do you know how few people read that series? Oh my god. Um So, it happens. Even to the best books, even to the best authors, some things just flop. I really hope it's not this.
Right, and I
God,
love
we've put it
Mabel
away.
too. I mean, you were down about Mabel, but I love
Yeah,
Mabel. But that
I
that was
love
historical
Mabel.
romance and supernatural. It was
It wasn't historical! Oh my god, it's not historical romance!
it was period romance.
Alright, I'll accept that. But it is not historical romance
It
if it's in a
was
different world,
yeah,
but
yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah.
it was yeah. That's what killed me is because there is a genre of what it is. It's just not American. So it's kind of like by calling it a historical romance, it's like kind of bastardizing a whole Korean and Asian culture.
Okay.
So like that's why I like Twitch when people are like it's historical. It's like no, it's not. It can't be historical if it's not even in fucking England.
It was
But I
yeah.
kept saying and stuff like on posts and everything, it's not historical, and then I'd have somebody reply, "Oh, I don't actually like historical romances, but I'll read this one." It's like, what did I just say?
What was I gonna say? I was gonna say
But yeah,
something
I
about
really love that one, and it did the Avery did great. Avery was
Avery was good. Yep.
people were excited for a trilogy, like, because I do such long series and never ending. They're like, "Oh yeah, and over a weekend, that's awesome." And then Mabel just went.
Oh.
And I was like, "Oh, I shouldn't have warned anyone. I should have just let y'all go in blind, brats."
Well, I will
So
say
now
this.
that's why I'm extra scared about saying anything about Morgan,
Oh.
because I'm just like,
You will say to me, you'll be like, "I'm gonna get you Seraphine whatever by whatever," and I'm like, "All right." And then you're like, "I'm gonna get you Immunomar." I'm like, "All right." So, like, it's not that I dislike any of the series or,
yeah,
whatever, but it's like some of them are just you have to pick your favorite
yeah.
kids.
Well, no, we're not supposed to, but yeah. Uh,
Yeah.
Personally, Seraphine will always be my favorite kid. That is the first one that I self-published all on my own and broke out against all my abusive past with publishers and
Uh-huh.
didn't and turned down the agents who wanted me to sign with them and change everything about her. Like so I Seraphine is probably will always be my favorite
She's your
kid
first
just
baby.
because
Yeah.
I'm proud of well, actually Dr. Kelly Murphy was my first. Those were the first books that I ever wrote and that's why they make me cringe. Because the writing. But no, yeah, Seraphine was the one that I finally said I deserve better than what I was getting. I deserve to I can do this. And so she is I was strong like Seraphine and that is why I think she'll always be my favorite. But
Mm, very sweet.
for between Tamsin and Bevan, I like them equally. I think I don't know what I'd say in 10 years. I'm a bit burnt out on Tamsin. That is 26 books in 5 years is a lot of time spent with somebody and I think
Mhm.
we need to take a break. So,
Well, I think that you might be a little more of a Tamsin because you're a little more outspoken than I am, and I'm a little more of a Bevan. And so maybe that just, I identify with her in some ways, and then maybe you identify with Tamsin in some way. I don't know.
I I don't know. Professionally I have to be or I speak out in my books. So that is kind of a not extroverted way to say what you want to say. But in my personal life, I'm fairly doormatty. So, I'm a recovering doormat is what I always say, but, I let's just say I've never had Bevan's problem where people want to help me because I'm pretty. So, I don't know how much I relate to her, but I do relate to yeah, right. I do relate to her a lot of I didn't grow up in a healthy environment with my family and I have trouble relating to people because of that. And like I see things go on and I turn to my friend a lot or different friends over the years and I'm just like what just happened? So I do relate to Bevan a lot on that where she's just like
Mhm.
something happened that I missed and kind of glosses over it like, okay. Okay, but lastly, we were going to talk about the magic. Cuz it was a lot of runes. There won't be runes, no portals. It's you use circle magic
Mm-hmm.
to get to place here and there, and the circles are mostly established, but you can. So it's more, instead of walking through a portal, it's kind of the same. Well, it is different. So I do have different books on it. Like the theory of portals is more physics and black hole and wormhole ideology, not the ideology, kind of, it's got that background to it, whereas circles are more portals through time idea with the magic. So I've got two different books, that one is for obviously Artemis, one is, and they're very different, but the end result is getting across distances fast.
Yes, and the portaling and the spell circling in and out of places is similar enough to be able to grasp it, but it's still kind of different, like the way that they're set up and the way that they're blocked or open or whatever.
Yeah, and I think it's cool the fact that, like, she drives her car in a circle, and like, then she just drives off, like, when she reaches the other spot, and they've got like this, the witches and warlocks of this world have like a set system of places you could go. Like there's always one in a different business, and you also can't just circle into somebody's house unless you have permission, like at the school, and so there's different physics, and it's like a time thing. But I'm really excited about because the runes, I had some people be like, runes are lazy writing, and I was like, ouch.
Oh.
Yeah, well, that's especially harsh because it is like a whole theology of magic. So, ouch. But I don't think it is. I think memorizing them all and keeping them all straight and whatever. So we're not gonna talk about haters right now. I think it's really cool, the side of having familiars and gathering magic that way and tending to another living being. There's spirits in them. Delving into that more, because even from the start, when they're talking about it in school and classes, it's like there are these theories of which one comes about, and so there's a lot more. I actually just bought like 12 different books on magic, moon magic. Was it 12? Yeah, there were a lot of new witchy books and Wiccan books and stuff that I'm very excited to incorporate. There's gonna be a lot more magical aspects to this one, and delving into it, the theories. It makes it sound like we're doing a how to be a witch book here, but it's really not. Like,
no.
Yeah.
No, but I will say that I really appreciate the sort of symbiotic relationship between nature and Bevan and the characters in this one, because in Artemis, nature can be scary. Like she has a problem with fairy where it tried to take too much from her, and so she had to be careful with nature. But in this one, it feels like the familiars are working with nature and working with the witches and the warlocks and all of the characters in such a companionable way, and nature is neutral for the most part. And
there will be absolutely, it's reliable. I mean, people are am I gonna fuck with that? Absolutely, that's my job. But no, I absolutely see what you're saying, basically. No, I agree with you on that, and I think it's a good point, and I'm excited about that. I'm excited about a lot of it. Scared, excited, ready to vomit,
Yeah, I'm trying to think of other things that happened, because I did read the first book in March, April, and now I just read the second one this past couple of weeks, and I'm trying to remember some of the things that there is darkness in it. There are people who want to hurt people, and there is absolutely some family trauma that is horrific. From Bevan's family.
It's really hard to get into without talking about plot yet, though. So
right. Can I just say that when she receives the package from her mother in the mail, I was like, that. I had a moment. And so that is something, readers, you need to look forward to in the second book, where she receives something that's just hurtless in the mail.
Even plotting that one out, I was like, this is gonna get me some hate.
No. I mean, hate toward mom, but that's it.
Well, but me for being so. Oh, I get hate for blinking half the time, and not really that bad, but
I mean, it was amazing. It was amazing writing.
Thank you. Oh, now I'm blushing.
Yeah. Yeah, I didn't expect it at all, and then, like, they're like, "Oh, you have a package," and I'm like, "Oh, ho, ho, what is this?"
Yeah. Oh
Yeah.
god, her family is so fucked.
Yeah.
I realize we haven't even talked about the fact that there will be other viewpoints. Tamsin didn't have that. And I think it was so funny. I got some flack. I asked the fans. I think it was the newsletter. Yeah, I think it was the newsletter. We did polls and stuff of like, what do you guys want? Do you want it, where it's Seraphine and it's all the time and then the last chapter? Or do you like it where it's, Tamsin where it's only her? And people wanted more perspectives. And then I was like, okay. And I had a few people be like, wow, you really just write to your audience. And I was like, hey, let's
You want it or you don't.
well, like, could you just, you would have, you just can't win and like, just shut the
No, but these are sprinkled in. So that's these.
I don't do things that I don't like. To me, I didn't care which way. It could have worked for me either way. I honestly preferred the way people wanted. That's why I brought it up. I wasn't sure of the path and it's not like I asked them to pick the ending or change the plot. How do you want the format? How do you guys like it? It'll make my life easier doing it this way.
These aren't forced. Yeah, these aren't just there as placeholders. They contribute. You're gleaning something from these extra chapters. Not extra
Yeah.
chapters, these extra perspectives.
Yeah. And I think that's important. I think that will give it, because Tamsin had a lot of, or Artemis had a lot of views, and partially because the dream, her being able to see dreams and everything, we got other perspectives and whatnot. But you got to see a lot because there was a lot, like you said, it was a very big world.
Mm-hmm.
I think to make this world more dynamic when it's smaller, the different perspectives is the right call. I was thrilled. I was very happy with the way the books were, but now I'm like super duper thrilled with those couple extra chapters in it with the different perspectives. I think they bring a lot, but I don't want to make the same mistake I did in House of Gardner, where each intro from the guy is a little gushy over
their lady.
Yeah, every first chapter from a new guy and their perspective, they kind of are a little gushy over Inez. And it was like, I don't want to make that mistake again, but I don't necessarily know it wasn't a mistake, because how do you not introduce his feelings for her? But, some of that maybe could go back later. I don't know, but I didn't want it to be just a chapter of she's awesome, I loves her.
But when I think about those chapters that are written from their perspectives, that's not what I remember from them. So
yeah, I mean, it's just a little bit, and I haven't had anybody really say that. It's just my worry as the author. It feels a little like I could have done better on that. Everything can be improved on, but I'll be honest, with the Morrigan extra chapters and where it's at, I think I'm at I was going to say the peak of my ability. I don't know that I could do it any better. I think I did it as bestest as I possibly can. And I don't know that I ever say that, but I think that with those additional chapters of the different perspective, those are peak what I could really, somebody else might have been able to do it better, and it could always be better. I don't know that I could have.
I will say that Bevan's not going to say it about herself in a lot of cases. And so those extra chapters give you a deeper insight into who she is and why she is and how she's become the person that she is. That's what I think.
I agree. Yeah. No, I think that's why they're important.
Yes. And so like in the second book, there is a chapter written, can I say, by someone that you don't know who they are.
Yeah, that's fine.
Can we say that? Okay. And so that person is the everyday citizen of Morrigan who is feeling some type of way about her. And so now you're saying like, oh, well, maybe this is what other people think about her. Maybe this is why she's getting some of the feedback that she's getting from people on campus. And then there's a chapter from a family member and things like that. So you're just getting a deeper look.
Yeah. I was so excited from that unnamed chapter, your response to it, or your
Yes.
your
Was I on the right track?
answering either way would give away huge spoilers, wouldn't it? Yep.
Well, no.
That is the reception I wanted.
Okay.
Let's just go with
Yeah.
that. Where you you had a vibe, but you weren't really sure, and you had hopes, thoughts, and dreams. That's the vibe I wanted. That is what I wanted from it. So I guess that's what I'm kind of saying without trying to sound like I'm being I'm fabulous here, is you and the beta both had, to every chapter, each of the books, all of the scenes, you both had like the outcome, the vibe, the feeling, and the insight that I wanted people to get from it. Will that be for everyone? Absolutely not. But you both don't normally give me that. There are absolutely times where you and it's not even I'm picking on anybody, this is just life, but one or both of you go left or right, and I'm just like, oh, did I do that wrong?
Yeah.
Oh, did I?
And I don't know that person, like we've never met, so there's no reason why we would have any,
Yeah.
Yeah,
no, and you're completely different backgrounds and everything, ages, all of it. So yeah, it was very, I'm very
encouraging. Yeah.
Yes, encouraging. And for all of my worries that this won't do well, I know it's not, if it doesn't, I know it's not because it's not good. It's awesome. It's just, things happen. I think the people who loved Tamsin are always going to love Tamsin, but I think there is a place in their heart for Bevan, and I think this will be the next series to obsess over.
Mhm.
I think it's worthy obsession material. How's that?
Yeah, I was jealous of Tamsin for certain reasons. Like, I'm jealous
course.
that she has
Can eat whatever
this,
she wants.
and she's got this immense power, and she's got all this stuff. I'm jealous of Evan for other reasons. So, like,
Yeah.
you've definitely written a character that's desirable to men and women, and not just sexually. It's like, oh, I want to read more about her. I want to be her. I want to experience this with her, for sure.
Yeah, I think so. And I think she's lovable. I think she's flawed and she's got a lot to grow, but that was Tamsin too.
Mm-hmm.
I'm honestly jealous of her inner strength. She kind of just, it's not even ego or like she's mean, like her shit don't stink. She's very much like, I know I'm attractive, so what? Like, what does that do?
She wants to repel that because that is what her family sees as making her marketable.
And it gets her into trouble. So with crazies and creepers and, so she's like, and like, okay, I know I'm smart. I know I can do this. Whereas Tamsin was very unsure of that side of her, between the fake looking red hair that was actually real that people picked on, And so I don't know I've ever had a day or a moment in my life that I've been so self-confident or knowing who I am like Bevan, and I think that would be great. So that's I am jealous of her for.
I'm with you. I think that you have every right to be confident about the series and about how you've written it.
Well, I didn't even mean it confident about the series, but thank you. I meant just in general, that's what I'm jealous of her for. Like, I wish I ever had a day where I felt that I know who I am, and I think a lot of us feel that way. A lot of us would want to learn from somebody like that or be around somebody like that. Like, even if they're fiction, like I would just want to hang out with Tamsin. Like, she and I could see us being friends. Like, I would want that. Like, she's the type of person I would want to influence me. And I think Bevan's the same, but in a different way. Her inner confidence, her inner, this is who I am, and so what? Like, even if the good stuff and the bad stuff, it is what it is. I don't know. I look forward to people getting to see that side of her, and I hope they, not even just so the series does well, I hope people like her. I put so much into her. I really hope people like her.
I think they will.
I don't think there's anything unredeemable or just off-put. Everybody has something off-putting, but you know what I mean.
Oh, sure. Yeah, no, I was just gonna say I would wear like a Morrigan sweatshirt. Like, that's where I'm at on this. I think that.
Oh, you're so adorable.
With
we
the
have Tamsin
symbols
ones. I don't even have it, and I don't even remember where we sell them at, and I don't think I've ever gotten paid out from it. Like, I'm such a bad adult. I think there's money on that thing that not a lot because we didn't sell many, but people just wanted it, so we did it. It wasn't like I was trying to make money off that. I mean, there are a lot of things that I do, this podcast included, that cost me money, and I never, I do it for the peoples.
Yeah.
Do it for the fiends. I want to give a big thanks to my editor for joining me for such a fun conversation. Also to all our fans for checking out this podcast. I hope you like what you heard and decide to stick around. Please make sure to subscribe to the Fat Books Podcast on YouTube or Spotify, or that little purple icon on your Apple device. Follow us on Twitter and Facebook to stay up to date on who we're recording with and when episodes are coming out. There's also a Patreon if you want to support the podcast and keep it going. So what's coming up is Artemis. I got to finish the new Artemis 25 for it to come out at the end of October. Morrigan pre-order is already up by now, and it will be coming out in November. And we have the big one is, well, no, the new series is the big one, let's be honest. And also, we have the annual Black Friday and Thanksgiving week freebies. So there should be, if you haven't seen it yet, I am shocked, but we're doing a lot of save the dates and letting you guys know exactly which books will be available when. I had some people be like, I worked Black Friday, so I couldn't get them downloaded. Well, now we've covered the whole week. We're going to be doing raffles and giveaways. And then hopefully, if I can focus and finish the book, the last Artemis will be in December, and that will wrap out the year. So that's what I've got going on. Thanks for staying till the end, and hope you enjoyed it.